It is Friday, May 15th, 2026. The 108th PGA Championship at Aronimink Golf Club is officially underway. And, well, the second round is already proving that basically everything we thought we knew about modern power golf is just, it's being violently dismantled.
Yeah, completely torn apart.
Right. And you are tuning in because you don't just want to see a scorecard. You want the diagnostic breakdown of all the chaos happening underneath it.
Exactly.
So to get that, we've pulled together a massive stack of sources for this deep dive. We're synthesizing data golf predictive models, live meteorological reports, on-the-ground insights from BetSperts and the Golf Channel, and, real-time player analytics.
It's a lot of data.
It is. And the mission for this deep dive is to equip you with high-level tactical analysis and advanced storylines so you have a professional-grade understanding of the strategic landscape out there today.
Because the broadcast, it's going to show you who is making putts, but our sources explain the invisible forces dictating those physical results.
Right, the real why behind the shots.
Yeah, exactly. The turf composition, the microclimates, the equipment technology. I mean, there is a massive battle happening before the club face ever even makes contact with the ball.
Absolutely. Now, before we get into the weeds, I want to drop a quick note. If you like this concept, please subscribe to our channel. This helps us continue producing this content and create even more advanced golf analysis, technology insights, and championship coverage over the next few years.
It really does make a huge difference for us.
It does. Okay, let's unpack this. Well, strike that. I know I usually say that, but let's just get right into it because Thursday's leaderboard presents a massive statistical paradox.
Oh, it really does.
I mean, Aronimink is playing as a par 70 at 7,394 yards, which is, the shortest PGA venue since 2020.
Right.
In modern professional golf, a sub-7,400-yard layout is typically a track meet. Guys should be just dismantling this place with wedges.
You'd think so, yeah.
Yet only 33 out of the 156 players in the field actually finished under par yesterday.
It's wild.
And we have a highly compressed seven-way tie at 3 under par, a 67.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is the composition of that seven-way tie. It's a really interesting data set. You have the undisputed world number one, Scottie Scheffler, sitting right alongside a mix of fearless, high-velocity international talent.
Like Minwoo Lee, Aldridge Potgieter, Ryo Hisatsune.
Exactly. And then thrown into that exact same mix are resurgent veterans like Martin Kaymer.
Wait, really? Kaymer's up there?
Yeah, and the statistical profiles of these co-leaders prove there is no singular blueprint for surviving this layout.
I mean, the sources show completely divergent paths to that 67. Just look at Scheffler. This is actually the first time in his career he has held a share of the 18-hole lead at a major.
Which is crazy to think about.
Right. And he didn't do it with his signature tee-to-green dominance. He gained 3.36 strokes putting.
Right, he put it the lights out, and Potgieter took the exact same route.
But then you look at Minwoo Lee, who actually lost strokes putting, but ball struck his way to the top purely through elite compression and angle management.
It's unbelievable.
It's like watching a bizarre traffic jam where you have a perfectly tuned Formula One car in Scheffler, somehow stalled right next to a vintage classic like Kaymer, and then a rookie driver with a learner's permit like Potgieter.
That's a great way to put it.
But how is a course this short neutralizing the heavyweights? How is it keeping the elite bombers from just running away from the pack?
Well, it's how the physical architecture of Aronimink forces that exact scenario. Gil-Hans's restoration of the original 1928 Donald Ross design effectively weaponized the turf against the modern power game.
Right, the course setup.
Yeah, the bombometer metric from Data Golf for round one showed a completely neutral advantage for distance. Raw velocity off the tee offered zero statistical edge.
Wow. I was actually looking at the architectural maps and the sources, and it comes down to the bunker distribution, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Hans expanded the bunker count from 74 to 174.
That's 100 new bunkers.
And he didn't just scatter them randomly.
Yeah.
He clustered them in a staggered formation right at the 310 to 330-yard landing zones.
Right in the driving zones for the big hitters.
Exactly. So if a player tries to push past the geometry of the dog legs, the margins for dispersion shrink to almost nothing.
Hans essentially laid a trap for players who rely on speed over precision. And if you avoid those bunker clusters, you are dealing with fescue rough approaching 4 inches thick, producing these unpredictable flyer lies.
Yeah, brutal.
But the primary defense mechanism neutralizing the whole bomb and gouge approach is the green complexes. They average 8,200 square feet. They're running at a 13.5 on the stimp meter, and they feature severe turtleback crowns and canted edges.
So hitting a 330-yard drive just doesn't matter if your wedge shot lands on the wrong quadrant of those greens.
No, not at all.
You're instantly facing a 60-foot double-breaking putt just to save par. And we saw that specific architectural defense completely break some of the biggest names in the sport yesterday.
Yeah, we really did.
I mean, Rory McIlroy shot a 4 over 74.
Which was a huge disappointment.
Right. And looking at his kinematic sequence data and the physical notes from the course, he actually had his right pinky toenail removed earlier this week due to a blister.
Ouch. Yeah, that changes everything.
It does. When you lose that anchor in your trail foot, your weight transfer shifts early, throwing off your timing. The result is a two-way miss off the tee.
Which is an immediate death sentence when navigating Hans's staggered bunker clusters. You cannot manage Aronimink without the ability to set up approach angles from the fairway.
Right.
But even when players found the fairway, the agronomy of the course presented a highly specific challenge that exposed certain technical flaws. Look at Bryson DeChambeau's disastrous 6 over 76.
Oh, man. The 11th hole is the perfect case study for Bryson's round. He has a 31-foot putt for par, barely breathes on it, catches the severe slope, and the ball just rolls out, leaving him a 57-foot putt coming back.
He literally putted himself 26 feet further away from the hole.
Just a nightmare. But it wasn't just the putt, right? It was the approach shot out of the rough that set up that scenario.
Exactly. The agronomic reality of Aronimink is the bent grass fairways and greens. Bent grass grows straight up and provides a subtle, tight cushion underneath the ball.
Okay.
So to control trajectory and spin from that lie, a player must nip the ball precisely off that cushion rather than driving the leading edge down into the dirt.
Right, which is Bryson's whole thing.
Yeah, Bryson historically relies on a very steep angle of attack and overpowering the turf. That makes elite wedge spin control a vulnerability for him. When he missed the fairway on 11, which carries a massive .70 stroke penalty, by the way, he lost all friction on his wedge shot out of the fescue. The ball released to the completely wrong tier of that massive green.
So the course essentially diagnostic tested his wedge game and just found a critical error.
Precisely.
Speaking of boiling points, Jon Rahm's frustration was palpable yesterday. The ball striking data showed he was hitting it beautifully tee to green, but he just couldn't match the speed of these 13.5 stem greens.
No, he was struggling.
He got so frustrated that a flying divot from an outburst accidentally hit a volunteer.
I mean, the cognitive load of constantly defending against three putts will drain a player's emotional reserves incredibly quickly.
Oh, for sure.
But, while the heavyweights were wrestling with the golf course, the statistical models identified a few specific players who quietly positioned themselves for a major move today.
Yeah, Xander Schauffele is lurking right behind the leaders at 2 under par. Data Golf's predictive models currently give him the second highest win probability in the entire field.
Trailing only Scheffler.
Right. Xander's profile is entirely built on bogey avoidance and compounding consistency. He doesn't make the wild, aggressive errors that Hans's bunkering is designed to punish.
He thrives in environments where par is a highly valuable score, and then you analyze Brooks Koepka at 1 under.
Oh, the metrics there are staggering.
They really are. He ranked in the top 3 for both approach and off-the-tee statistics in round 1. He thoroughly dismantled the course from tee to green, but lost 2 full strokes to the field putting.
If he finds the center of the putter face today, he is terrifying.
Absolutely terrifying.
Because navigating the back 9 at Aronimink requires elite iron play. The 15th is a 546-yard par 4.
That is just a brutal length.
And the 17th is a 229-yard par 3, entirely over water. You cannot fake your way through that closing gauntlet.
No, you can't.
We should also highlight that angular course management is successfully competing with linear distance. Just look at Michael Block.
What a story that is.
The PGA professional, playing with his son on the bag, shot an incredibly popular even par 70, beating dozens of top tour pros.
The galleries were electric for him.
Right.
And the fact that a club professional can plot his way to a 70 on a major championship setup, it really validates the architectural brilliance of the course. It rewards execution over sheer velocity.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though, regarding the heavyweights. Scottie Scheffler and Jon Rahm are on different tours now, right? So the head-to-head data is less frequent.
Right.
But our sources pulled a jarring statistic. Scheffler is 10-0-2 in his last 12 head-to-head starts against Rahm.
Right.
He has not lost to him since the 2023 Open Championship. That psychological dynamic is massive.
It's huge. Rahm knows he's trailing, he knows he's struggling with his speed control, and he knows Scheffler is currently putting better than anyone in the field.
The pressure on Rahm to force birdies today will be immense.
But both Rahm and Scheffler, and really the rest of the field, are facing a much more volatile opponent than each other today.
Yeah, the weather.
Exactly. The meteorological data indicates that Mother Nature is actively splitting the field into two completely different tournaments.
The atmospheric dichotomy between Friday morning and Friday afternoon is extreme. Let's break down the morning wave first.
Okay.
Players teeing off early are dealing with 56-degree temperatures and 90% humidity. There is significant lingering moisture from Wednesday night's rain. The sources highlight that the heavy, dense air will noticeably reduce apex heights and carry distances.
But the real danger of that morning moisture is how it interacts with the fescue rough.
How so?
Well, when fescue is wet, the moisture increases the friction coefficient on the hosel of the golf club. The wet grass wraps around the heel, creating drag, while the toe of the club keeps moving at full speed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it violently snaps the face shut through impact. Players are going to be fighting aggressive hooks anytime they miss the fairway.
That requires massive core strength and torque just to gouge the ball back out to the short grass.
Exactly.
And at 8:07 a.m., Colin Morikawa is teeing off alongside Victor Hovland and Shane Lowry. The sources confirm Morikawa is battling severe back spasms.
That's a nightmare scenario for him.
Trying to stabilize a violently twisting club face in wet fescue with compromised lower back mobility. It's a brutal physical exam.
It really is.
Then at 8:40 a.m., Scheffler goes out with Matt Fitzpatrick and Justin Rose, trying to protect his lead in that heavy, distance-sapping air.
But if we connect this to the bigger picture, the afternoon wave is facing an entirely different strategic matrix.
A completely different golf course.
Yes. By midday, the humidity plummets to 31% and the temperature rises to near 70 degrees. But the critical factor is the northwest wind. It's forecasted to gust between 24 and 26 miles per hour.
A dry, 26-mile-per-hour wind whipping across 13.5 snip greens.
Yeah.
Those turtleback crowns are going to bake out and turn into concrete.
Exactly. The morning wave is fighting friction in the grass. The afternoon wave is fighting aerodynamics in the air.
That's a great way to frame it.
Calculating spin decay in a 26-mile-per-hour crosswind while trying to hold a firm, canted green, it requires immense creativity. Players cannot rely on stock yardages.
Right.
They'll have to flight the ball down, manually alter their spin axes, and basically accept that aiming 30 feet away from the pin is often the mathematically correct decision.
And the afternoon tee sheet is just a gauntlet of drama. Bryson DeChambeau tees off at 1:43 p.m. with Ludwig Aberg and Ricky Fowler, and Bryson is fighting just to make the cut.
Yes, he is.
His reliance on high spin, high apex wedge shots is going to be severely tested by those gusts.
It's the worst possible conditions for his style of play.
Then at 2:05 p.m., you have McIlroy, Jordan Spieth, and Rahm stepping onto the course right as the greens reach peak firmness and the wind hits its maximum velocity.
The players who mentally adapt to the shifting environmental variables, the changing density of the air, and the increasing speed of the turf, they will survive Friday.
And the others.
The players who stubbornly try to force their baseline strategy on a changing golf course will eject quickly.
So what does this all mean? When you tune into the broadcast today, you are armed with X-ray vision. You aren't just looking at the strokes on the screen anymore.
No, you're seeing the why.
Exactly. When you see a player in the morning wave violently hook a recovery shot, you understand the physics of the wet fescue grabbing the hosel. When you see Rahm or McIlroy back away from a 30-foot putt in the afternoon, you understand the terrifying friction dynamics of baked bent grass on a severe cant.
You are watching the unseen mechanics dictate the championship. You're seeing the course and the atmosphere apply pressure to the specific physiological and technical vulnerabilities of every single player out there.
And as we wrap up, there is one final, highly provocative data point buried in our sources that you should keep in mind this weekend.
Oh, this is fascinating.
Cameron Young, historically one of the absolute highest velocity players in the world, is reportedly playing this week with a new proposed rollback conforming golf ball.
Right.
The TrackMan data shows this ball has reduced his driving distance by nearly 10 full yards, yet his fairway percentage has spiked.
The physics behind that trade-off are fascinating, really. A ball designed to fly shorter typically possesses greater gyroscopic stability. It produces a flatter apex and experiences less spin decay over its flight path.
Meaning it goes straighter.
Exactly. It significantly tightens the dispersion cone. He is sacrificing raw distance for an exponentially higher probability of finding the short grass.
Which brings us to the ultimate question. Aronimink is a classic sub-7,400-yard layout. It is currently defending itself flawlessly against the greatest athletes in the sport, using nothing but precise bunkering, severe greens, and agronomic strategy.
It doesn't need 8,000 yards of real estate to challenge these guys.
It really doesn't. And if players like Cameron Young are now voluntarily utilizing distance-reducing technology just to keep the ball in play on a layout like this, are we finally witnessing the death of the bomb and gouge era in professional golf?
Has the combination of architectural restoration and equipment physics finally forced a return to precision over power?
Keep that question in mind as you watch the afternoon wave battle the wind today. The scorecard is just the receipt. The real story is the chaos underneath.